Hello, welcome to my office. Not finished. We're shoving all the junk in here now till we know what to do with it, so just bear with me. I put some red pictures up to give you some color because it's beige and ugly in here. So I wanted to give you a little color. I guess I shouldn't sit in front of it, but I am hopping on to talk about minimalism. And I wrote like 5 little pages of notes. I don't know if I'm going to follow them or not, but I hopefully will keep me a little bit organized because I'm not quite used to having a conversation with one person. I know you guys can comment and stuff. That would be awesome. So I just wanted to start out where the idea really started for me. Before that, essentialism. If you don't know what it is, it's just about having less. It's about, in the simplest form, just imagine having fewer things. And that is the simplest form of essentialism. And this makes it easier to make decisions. Some people have 10 items of clothing, so they don't have to think about what they're wearing. Or some people have a tiny house so they can save on funds and don't have to clean as much. I don't know. It's all about having less. And it really goes deeper than that. But my boyfriend and I just started on this journey, and it's mirroring back things to us that for some reason, were unexpected. And where I started, for me, where the journey started was I read this book a few months ago called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but there's this one little picture in here. And mostly this book has to do about making essential decisions. It's very business. Like, I highly suggest it if you're in any sort of corporate world or any sort of leader. It's all about choices, and don't be a yes man and choose what's essential and get rid of the rest. And there was this picture that he drew in here. I'm going to show you guys. And it said, so sometimes we're really good at doing 100 things. But what happens when we're doing 100 things at once is we get a lot of things done, but we don't get very far. We go like a millimeter in every direction or a centimeter in every direction, and we don't really get anything done. And I know I felt that way to where I've been like busy all day, but I feel like I didn't go anywhere. And some people live from this place of doing and doing and doing and saying yes to everybody who needs them and doing everything that they get asked. Or it's backwards because the camera. There's this guy who makes the decisions that are essential to a life of his choosing. And this really hit me hard because off of the topic of having less, when we decide what we want our life to look like and we decide where we want to see ourselves in 5 or 10 years, we are the ones making the decisions and building on that vision. And if we choose to do things that aren't essential to the life that we want to lead, this is what we're going to look like. But when we stop and we think and we make conscious choices on the things that we're doing and the people that we're around, this is what's going to happen. And it's going to just propel you quicker into the life that you want because you're making a conscious decision towards the things that are essential for the life that you want. So this really started that decision process for me, and then it sort of got shifted into things. Like, I think what happened was, the first thing that I think happened was we stopped buying things. Like, it's Thanksgiving and they have this cute turkey that I could put on the door, or they have these cute little cups when we have 20 already. We just stopped buying things, and that was really nice because, for one, we didn't have more stuff, and for two, we get the chance to invest our money into something different, and that's huge because every little thing you do adds up to something big. And if you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else, which is another thought that really sunk hard with me, because I'm a people pleaser and I love saying I'm a yes man. But when you learn to say no to not only people but things, you're saying yes to something else. So let me look at my notes. So again, when you think about how you want your life to look like, and you're thinking about what's essential, I think about the people all the time who don't make time for the things that they want to do. They say that there's not enough time. And I think that is a couple of things. And one, it's not choosing what's essential. They're not choosing what's essential for them to live how they want to. And two, sometimes you just can have too many things. And there's a saying that what you own owns you. And that was another knock on the head for me, because we had a plan. We had a 2-year plan to save and buy a house. And slowly after I read that Essentialism book, and as the time went on, and I saw people doing these other things and traveling and not being stuck, I made a decision that I didn't think that I wanted to buy a house, which is like huge in the realm of, I have a lot of friends who have houses and they have kids and are married, and the fact that I don't want to buy a house was a little scary. But I see all the time that there's people living these nomadic lives, and it looks wonderful to me. It looks like freedom. It feels like fresh air when I think about living, when I think about not having a home base, meaning you have a house, and if I'm going to buy one, I'm going to want it to be a nice one, right? So that's going to be a chunk of money. And all of that money going into the house is going to be my time, because my time, the energy that I put out, is the money I'm going to get back. And I'm going to spend that on my nice house and the nice things that I want in my nice house. So if I didn't have this house with these nice things, and the dishwasher that needs fixed, and the carpet that always needs vacuumed, and the walls that always need painted, I have a lot more time to do the things that I love to do and that I'm passionate about. And if you want to have a house and you want to vacuum and clean the walls, that's awesome. That's not a bad thing. But for me, I just decided that wasn't something that I wanted. And let me take another peek at my notes here. I knew I wasn't going to follow these. I write it all down because I get nervous, and then you look and you don't even know what you're looking at because you're not following. So my family growing up, you could say that some of them are hoarders, undiagnosed hoarders, and they just had a lot of things. They had lots of stuff. They kept lots of things just in case, or lots of things for what ifs, or bought things because they were cheaper than they originally were. Instead of a junk drawer, we would have like junk rooms, and it was just so much stuff. And I saw it in myself because sometimes it can look really unorganized, and I saw that I looked really unorganized. I had shit everywhere. My purse was full of shit. My room was full of shit. Everything was just full and cluttered, and it appeared really unorganized, which I still knew where everything was most of the time because it was my mess, you know? But nevertheless, there was lots of stuff, and I was very unorganized. And as I started to get older, I decided that I didn't want to be like the few members of my family that just are surrounded. They're just surrounded with stuff. And there's somebody super close to me that I love right now who is so surrounded that they are paralyzed and they can't move because of all of these things around them. They can't make a decision because where do you start? And that showed me the way out. So that was sort of a blessing for me. And living in a home, we just moved. So I'll get to that. But before that, my boyfriend and I lived in a very small house in Parma. And we shared it with a woman who lived out of state. She was a fashion designer in New York. So we had all of our stuff for 3 adults in this little house. And Adam could actually sit at the dining room table and reach into the kitchen and open the refrigerator and get something out of the refrigerator and not get up. He maybe had to lean a little. It was so small, and it was so full of stuff because we had the owner's stuff, all of my stuff that I accumulated over the last 28 years, and all of Adam's stuff that he accumulated over the last 30 years. We tried to pull it together, and it became very frustrating. So after I read this Essentialism book, I started deciding what was essential. And then, like I had said before, we decided that we weren't just going to buy things just to buy them. There was no need. That wasn't where we wanted to invest our energy, our money, or our energy. And then it shifted. We started getting rid of things. And there was some people that I follow and Adam follows, and they were bragging about how good it felt to get rid of half of their things, or 60 or 80% of their stuff. So we decided to challenge ourselves. And we threw out, you start to throw out a little bit at a time, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't need that. Oh yeah, that's okay. Oh, I haven't used this in 4 years. And then it becomes like an addiction. Every time you throw something out, you feel a little bit lighter. And then you throw something else out, and then you feel a little bit lighter. And it's like this, you're just creating this space every time you get rid of something. And after it's gone, you don't fucking think about it. It's gone. You think that you're going to think about it after it's gone if it's something that you're wondering about. And you don't think about it. And it just feels so good because you have less to think about. And so we went on this thing and we started throwing all this stuff out. And then we thought we got up to about 40 to 50%. And so I was bragging. And I'm like, yes, I got rid of 40% of my things. It feels so awesome. You know, I'm eventually going to travel, and this is such a good start, and telling everybody about it. And then we move last weekend, two Saturdays ago. And we thought it was going to be the easiest move ever. Adam, we counted him the other day. I don't know the exact numbers, but Adam has moved like 14 times since he was 18. And I've moved like 12 or 13 since I was 14. So we just thought that this was going to be the easiest move ever. We were going to just be like one drive, fill our cars, have a truck come here, and then it's done. And man, were we in for a rude awakening. I don't even think it was real. We packed for a month ahead of time. And I don't even think it really was real until we were packing the U-Haul, and just like all of the stuff that we still had in the basement, which, you know, you don't ever look in the basement. And yeah, Adam said, talk about a wake-up call. It was such a wake-up call. All of these, like, you know, the things hidden in the corners and in the drawers and in the closets and in the basements. And it was so much. So we brought it here. Obviously, we had to. And we brought it all in. And then it looked like even more. Because at the house, we had 2 levels. And we could throw stuff in the basement when we decided we didn't want to use it. And here, it's a single level apartment. And it's here, and it's looking at you every second. This stuff is just looking up at you like, what are you going to do with me? Where do I belong? Are you going to throw me out? Are you going to keep me? Are you going to clean me? You might have to fix me. I don't know if I'm going to go anywhere here. What do you want to do with me? And they're just, everything's talking to you, and it was so overwhelming. And I'm going to get more comfortable here. It gave us the opportunity to get rid of more shit. And I want to look at my notes really quick. So yeah, I started to love to throw things away or donate them. And Adam actually brought up a really good point about how something that I love but am not using could go to somebody else and they could love it and they could use it. So how giving of me to give something away and not to hoard it for myself and just think that it's mine and I want it all. That was really nice. And so I constantly think of that when I do donate. So we have all of our stuff here, and we're not going to put it all away. Obviously, we already have the snowball rolling, so we are going to just keep chopping it down to the essentials and keep minimizing. So this is where it started to get a little frustrating, because at the house there was lots of things that maybe just built up over the last few years. It was super easy to throw away, just easy stuff, you know, junk like. But once we came to the apartment and we started getting rid of more stuff, it started getting really tough, and we had to make some tough decisions. So, you know, we got frustrated, and we noticed that we were sort of bickering more and just sort of quick to react. And the crap laying all over didn't help this. So we kept up with it, and we kept deciding what was essential and kept getting rid of more things. And what really came through was that, well, let me go there in a minute. But what happened was Adam was a trooper, because I was just irritated all the time. I would snap, and I would be, you know, testy, and I just was not a jolly person to be around some of the time. And one night I was feeling extra. We had gotten rid of a lot of stuff, and we had gotten rid of some stuff that was very personal to us, but it had no use, and it was just going to sit in a box. So we decided to get rid of it. And you know how sometimes you will get mad about something and flip out about that thing, but it's not really that thing you're flipping out about. You're flipping out about something else. That happened. And we sell bone broth on the weekends. And we had just made up this new brochure, and it was the day before we were going to go sell the bone broth. I had to go pick up these new brochures, and I didn't want to. I was supposed to that day, and then I think I just got too busy, didn't do it. And then, hey, Elizabeth, you are always here. I wish I could give you a high five every time you hop, or like a fist pump. So where was I? The comments. Oh, so I had to go pick up these brochures, and I was not feeling it. We had been like non-stop since we moved in last Saturday, and then we worked, and then we're here, and we're putting things together and getting rid of things that are ours. And I didn't want to go. I just didn't want to go, and I was feeling like I wanted to flip out. And so I literally had a hissy fit. I stomped on the floor, like hopped up and stomped on the floor. And Adam comes out, and I'm like, I want to have a hissy fit. And he goes, what is wrong? And I just like, it all just came out, and I started crying, and he just hugged me, and I was just, you know, venting to him and just bawling and crying like a little child. And then he says something, I said something about the brochures, and he's like, yeah, they're in Strongsville. And I didn't really hear him the first time. And then I was like, where are they? Pissed off. He's like, they're in Strongsville. And I went like this. And I cried, and I fell to the ground like this, just bawling. And he starts laughing, because who the fuck does that? And I'm just crying and crying, and he came down there laughing, and then I started laughing really hard, and then I started bawling as hard as I have in a long, long time, and I just had this like adult temper tantrum. I can't, that's the best way I can explain it. And after that was over, I left to go get the brochures. And ever since I had that temper tantrum, every day I felt a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. So I think that that temper tantrum was essential for me to get past losing these parts of me. And something I really wanted to explain was when you're getting rid of stuff and you're letting go of these things that you've had for a really long time, you're not just getting rid of stuff. You're literally giving pieces of you away, energy that's been around you for years and years. You're giving that away. You're like breaking it apart from you. So it's not just stuff that you're getting rid of. You're getting rid of the things that identify you as you. And that can cause people to be a little frustrated and have adult hissy fits, like I did. So if essentialism is something that you want to sort of get into and have less around you and have more freedom because you have less things that own you, I think just like anything, it's not going to be all sunshine, and that's okay. And it's not just going to, it's all right to not feel all right and to let that flow, because when it's resisted and pushed down and repressed and suppressed, it will find its way out. And I was like suppressing these emotions for a couple of weeks, and then eventually they just spilled over and I acted like a damsel in distress. So that's Jess said, don't let stress get the best of you. You are so much better than that. Just be happy. I am happy, Jess. I am so much more. The more we do this, the happier I get. And knowing that after this lease is over, our plan is to travel, that makes me even happier. But sometimes, I believe that sometimes on the journey to happiness, we have to go through all those other emotions. It's just the human experience. So I love you so much, girl. What is also known as minimalism, Adam? Hey, Marie. Everybody's hopping on, and I'm kind of finished with my story. I probably did have a couple of other things I wanted to share. So, the other thing that I thought was really important is, first, how I was bragging that I got rid of all this stuff, and I didn't get rid of all this stuff. That hit in the face with all of this shit all over was stressful. And we chose to see it, and I chose to see it as an opportunity to still stay committed to my decision to get rid of the things that aren't essential and to dive even deeper into it. So sometimes things don't look like the way that you may want to, but it doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity there. And I'm happy that I chose to look at it as an opportunity, or I would still be sitting with pounds and pounds and pounds of stuff here that I don't need. Hey, Chasten. So that's really all I have. I'm having a great time so far, and even though we've been on edge and I've been acting like a bitch sometimes, that's just part of it. And any change is going to be uncomfortable. And I know personally, like this constriction, this resistance, this feeling of like suffocating comes right before it all opens up and you step into this new paradigm and this new way of life. Because thinking about getting rid of all of this stuff and consistently, everything is up for evaluation now that I'm deciding what's essential and deciding what is going to be here for me to lead me where I want to go. And consistently deciding to think like that changes your brain chemistry. It changes the way that your neurons fire together. And that's uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. But if we know that it's uncomfortable and we know why, the underpinnings of why we want to do it and where we're looking to get, it's okay to be uncomfortable. And this lesson just keeps hitting me more and more about how you know, it's not smiles all the time. Coming from somebody who smiles all the time, it's not smiles all the time, and that's okay. And when we decide to change our lives and change our thought processes, because even thoughts cannot be essential, and even thoughts cannot bring you joy. It's like changing a habit. It just takes time, and it takes failure, and it takes relearning the lesson, and it takes a lot other than just the decision. It takes the action to go through the decision. And that action repeated is going to get you to the outcome. So right now, we're still donating more. We've gotten rid of a lot, and we have a little donation pile in the living room. I just feeling better and better every time I get rid of something. I really do. It's such a release of energy, and it just gives me more space to create in my life and not have things that own me. So thanks for all of you people that stuck on here for 26 minutes. I think that's all I have. Just wanted to explain my Hissy fit and how it's going, and I'm going to keep it up. So I'll let you guys in on how it goes. And next step is to, as a girl, as a woman, I have decided to decorate minimally. And this is going to be a fun one because I have lots of decor. And I get to decide what truly brings me joy and has a good story behind it, or what's just there for other people. So that's where I'm at right now, since we're actually getting the apartment together in order. And, you know, figuring out where the desk is going to go, or what pillows I want on the couch, you know. So that's just where I'm at right now. But I will keep you guys updated. And thank you so much for watching. And I challenge you guys to just get rid of one thing a day for a month, maybe, of something that doesn't bring you joy and doesn't have a good story and is just there. It's just there and you haven't used it, and maybe you have it as a what if. There is enough. You have enough. You have enough. Just remember that you always have enough. You don't have to keep buying things. So yeah, I'm gonna go. So this doesn't hit a half an hour. But hey, everyone that jumped on and rewatch it for me.